Hello ladies and welcome back to Chengi's World. I'm so happy to be back. It's Men Talk Monday and I am here with another video for you beautiful ladies. Thank you so much for joining me. And so let's get this party started. If you are new to Chengi's World, make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment, and follow me on Instagram or Facebook, right? Let's get this party going. We're gonna keep this party going. And for those of you who are here, constantly here in Chengi's World, welcome, and welcome back again. You know I love you, my angels. Okie dokie, so what are we discussing today? Before you give up, have you done the following? Okay, so we're going to be talking about what you need to tick off your box to know that you have done before you give up on a relationship, okay? So keep watching to the very end and we shall continue this party. So one of the things that I am finding, ladies, and please excuse my background, I have just been shopping. I've just bought a nice art canvas thingies. I'll show it to you when I've got it up, and some candle holders. Beautiful. It's a local sort of art shop around the corner. I just loved it and I had to buy it. So I didn't want to waste any more time fluffing around. I literally came in, put my shopping down. I was like, right, I'm doing this video. If it kills me, I'm doing this video. It might be uploaded a little bit later than I would like, but it is being done. Okay, enough of that. So you're gonna excuse the background and the flout. Like, I'm not even gonna point out the things that are wrong in this room right now. But I know you guys love me and you're not here to check out my house, you're here to understand something. So part of what I've been working with and working on a lot of with my clients is one of the things I've observed is that we have become a generation of women that have been disappointed, let down so many times that we have become a little bit jaded. We have become a little bit, I don't take that crap from nobody, to a point where I feel like we no longer want to fight for anything. You know, we no longer want to fight for the relationship. We no longer want to fight for that person. And it starts to read in our energy. It starts to read wrong, right? So I was having a conversation with somebody last night, a guy friend of mine, and we were just discussing certain things. And he was saying, you know, a woman could make some effort. She could make an effort. And he was giving me a scenario of a situation that he was in, and what I observed from that situation was that the woman in that scenario was trying to test his interest, test to see if he was different from all the other guys. Of course, there were other things that were involved in that scenario that was never going to work anyway. But it really hit me because I work with my clients, and sometimes I'll have a client say to me, oh, you know, I haven't heard from him and it's been a while and I haven't heard from him, and what do I do? You know, I'm not going to contact him. I'm not going to make any contact. I'm just going to sit back and expect him. And I'm like, why don't you call him? Why don't you pick up the phone? Because I don't want to chase another guy. I'm done chasing guys. You know, I get that a lot. And the point of me saying call him is not to chase him or pursue him. It's so that you can get clarity and closure on your terms. But what I noticed is that one of the things that I'm going to be talking about, and some of the stuff that is in my book that should be coming out for the end of the year, please God, or certainly early next year, is about positioning and hard positioning. When you've been hurt, I completely understand that you don't want any nonsense. You become a no-nonsense girl. You start to see the signs. You start to run. But sometimes that position can cause us not to make that effort. You know what I mean? We don't want to come across needy. We don't want to come across like we're chasing a guy or pursuing a guy, but we've actually stopped making an effort. We've actually stopped being as though we were happy. Okay, and as a result, when I say to women, look, have you fought for that relationship? I feel like I have been having this conversation with multiple women at different stages of their relationship. Now, let me just explain what fighting for a relationship is. Okay, fighting for a relationship is making sure that the conversation has been had. Okay, there is no point in reading into a guy's actions and deciding you know what it means. Look, nothing means anything except the meaning that we put on it. Okay, somebody walking past you doesn't mean that they don't like you, doesn't mean they hate you. It might mean that they don't see you, or they're so deeply into their thoughts that they're going through something really terrible in their lives, and as a result of that, they didn't see you. They may have physically seen you, but they haven't seen you. Or it might be simply They don't like you, they're trying to make a point, and they pass you by. But ultimately, it is the meaning and the interpretation that you put on that action. So if you feel like, if you're somebody who believes that, look, we didn't have anything go wrong with us last time we saw each other, it was great, we had a laugh, then you're going to put meaning, oh, they didn't see me. So you're going to call them and say, hey girl, did you not see me? And she'll be like, oh my God, right? And it will go on to become a lovely conversation. Or if you know that there was something that she stepped on your toes last time, you'll be like, oh, I can't believe that girl just passed me by. Can you believe what she's just done? But actually, none of that is true. It's all about the interpretation that we put on things. And so when we try to build relationships based on just reading a man's action, whether he's called you today or not called you today, whether the morning text has come or not, or whether he stopped calling. If you decide to create a relationship or to how you are going to move forward in that relationship based on a man's actions alone, okay, you are going to be misguided, and you're going to find yourself on the wrong side of that equation, because 90% of the time we are looking through the eyes of insecurity. We're looking through the eyes of past disappointments. We're looking through the eyes of past failed relationships. We're saying, this has happened to me multiple times, so this is what must be happening to me. I am not here to give you ladies who are in abusive, stupid relationships a kind of get out clause to stay in them. When I make videos like this that are kind of open to giving guys a chance, I find that it's always the girls that are in abusive relationships that are kind of using that as fuel to stay in an abusive relationships. Or men who ignore you, or men who don't call you, or men who just act disgracefully. I am not talking about that guy. I'm not addressing that guy. I'm addressing people who have met somebody who's decent, you had a good time, you went on great dates, things were going well, and up till this particular point that you're watching this video, or recently, something has sort of fallen off grid, and you're sitting there thinking, you know what, this has happened to me way too many times. I liked him, I'm just going to keep it moving. And keeping it moving has become your MO. That's how you now deal with situations. Or you're going to be moody because this is what happened before, or whatever. And you will not have that conversation with him. You cannot say you have fought for a relationship, or that you were serious about being in a relationship, or that you even want to be in a relationship, or that you are dating to be in a relationship, if you are not prepared to have the uncomfortable conversations. It is not fair to assume that somebody's actions mean this unless you actually open up and have that conversation with that person. Okay, and at the point in which I challenge women to have the conversation, they start to feel like they're entering into their masculine and start telling me about masculine, feminine. Hello, girl, look. It's not about who does what first. It's how you approach the situation, okay? So you can't let things fester, put your interpretation on his actions, and do what you've always done, because you're gonna get what you always get, okay? You're gonna continue to repeat the cycle. You have to come to a place in your mind where you are prepared to fight for what you want. Not fight for him per se, but fight for the relationship you want, understanding that the person that you are dealing with has also had disappointments, also has insecurities. There are no men out there that are perfect, haven't been hurt, haven't been let down, haven't been played by a woman who's just waiting to meet you. Okay, we're all coming into this. We're two people with histories and past, and we're coming into this, right, with our own sense of insecurities. And yes, when a man is into you, he is going to pursue you. He's going to make that effort. He's going to keep pressing on and becoming that man that you desire and want in your life. But ultimately, he is not coming perfect. He is coming with his flaws and his insecurities, and you are trying to work out the dynamic of that relationship. You are working at that dynamic. What is this union, this Jane and Jack relationship? What is that going to look like, right? And only you and him decide what that looks like, you know. And that happens through communication. That happens through saying, hey babe, there's something I would like to talk about. When is a good time for you? Okay, making that appointment, right? And if he is a guy that is serious and does care about you, how you know that you are in a good relationship, healthy relationship, is a man who is serious about you, a man who's serious about pursuing you, a man who wants something, a man who's come to stay is going to take note of that and be like, oh yes, let's speak on this date, right? But I find that some of us are just not even willing. We're just not even willing to go there. We're not even willing to reach out, not even with a text to say, look, I hope everything is fine. I've not heard from you for a few days. I was wondering if we could have a chat. There's something I'd like to talk about. When is a good time for you to talk? Now, a man that's serious is going to be like, sure, I'm available Friday. I'll call you at 2:00 in the whatever. And when he does call, be your pleasant, wonderful self, and say to him, look, it's just something that I've been feeling, observing. You seem to be pulling away. And I'm just a little bit confused. Is this something that you're still looking to pursue, or have you moved on? And not be afraid to say it. Why? You're not fighting for the man. You're fighting for the relationship that makes you happy. We're here to create relationships. They're not already done for us. There is no relationship that you're going to walk into that is already done. Okay, this is all sorted. We're going to walk into this perfect relationship. You have to create it. You have to set that standard. You have to let that man know the disappearing of grid for a day, 2 days is not how you expect to be pursued. It's not the sort of relationship you want to be a part of. But what that does to a high value man who is in pursuit of you begins to place a greater value on you, but it also lets him know that you're interested. One of the things that my friend said to me is sometimes you pursue a girl and keep pursuing a girl, and she doesn't reciprocate. She doesn't show you that the interest is both-sided. She doesn't show you, she doesn't make any effort to show you that it's both-sided. Like, you haven't heard from me in 3 days and you couldn't be bothered to reach out. I could have been in a hospital. I could be in some sort of situation. Now, it's not the same as a needy, hey, I was at the shops and I thought of you. It's not a neediness. It's about saying, I deserve a certain kind of relationship. I need a man's time and attention. I need to have a man behave this way around me for me to feel like I'm happy in this relationship. And I also need to let that man know that this is my standard, and then observe to see if he respects it and if he changes, because that is where you decide whether this person is worth fighting for or not. It's whether they are prepared to make the adjustments. It's whether they are prepared to do different. And one thing about men is they don't want to guess. They don't want to go into your head and start figuring out what it is that will make you happy. They want it to be written out in black and white. If you love flowers and you would like flowers every single day of your life, then they're happy to bring you flowers if this is a man that wants to please you. And you reaching out like that lets him know that you are aware of his actions and that you are aware of his being. And you can say to him, look, when you disappear off grid and you don't contact me, would you like me to contact you? Would you like me to ping you and just see how you're doing? Because I don't want to feel like I am chasing you or bothering you. So how would you like me to be when you fall off grid or when you are super busy? Would you like me to just allow you to get back to me when you're ready? I know it feels like, but it's not part of the rules. But it's about the relationship that serves you. Okay, and if it's serving you, then you're not going to be resentful in it, and you will be serving back. Let him know that you're here to serve him too. How would he like things to be? That you are not just sitting back expecting him to make all the effort. You want to know exactly what he needs in order for him to be happy in this relationship too, right? So we need to develop a standard that says, I cannot write him off. I cannot decide that he's not good enough for me until I have at least given him a chance to know what he's done wrong, what he is doing wrong, and a chance for him to repair it. That is base level relationship dating 101. If you are not prepared to let somebody know what they've done wrong and give them a chance to fix it, you're really not ready for a relationship. You're really not mature enough. You're really not in a position to be found and to be happy in a relationship. I know that sounds harsh, but this is 101. We must find a way to communicate, and it's not a fight, it's not an argument. And when that conversation happens, it's as simple as, you have every right to, to call me whenever you like and conduct this relationship in a way that is pleasing and acceptable to you, or conduct this dating process or this courtship in a way that serves you, because you are also part of this situation or this relationship or this scenario. I feel that when you don't call me, it hurts my feelings, or when you say that, it hurts my feelings. I feel, a feminine woman talks about her feelings, and I would really appreciate it if you would make more of an effort, if you would call me more regularly, or if you would respond to my texts sooner rather than later, or whatever it is, and wait for him to say, well, I might not be able to fulfill that request in that way, but would it be okay if I did this? Or, to be honest, babe, I'm dating other people, and right now I feel like that request is a bit too much for where we are right now. Whenever you come out with your truth, you force the other person to bring their truth to you. Whenever you are, and you have to be high value, you have to have enough self-esteem, enough self-worth to do what I'm saying. So part of what I'm talking about, I know is not easy if you are needy, if you're desperate, if you have low self-esteem, and that is a lot of the problems that we have. But that also is indication that you've got no business dating, you've no business being in this field. You need to be spending time building up on your self-worth and self-value enough to ask for what you want. Ask for what you want from your person you're dating, from somebody that you're hoping to create a life with, or at least start a journey with, okay? And that starts with having enough confidence to say it. And yes, men, if you speak to a man honestly, from your feelings, from the truth of your heart, you give him no option but to be truthful with you. And it's better for you to find out in the first month, in the first week, in the early stages of a relationship, if this guy is really serious about you or not, than investing and tolerating or walking away from something that potentially could be good. So I really want to encourage us, because if we're not ready to fight for anything at the early stages, we will not be able to fight for a relationship when it is established, and we will fail to fight for something in a marriage. This is the core as we prepare to meet and to marry the men of our dreams. This is the core foundation. We must be prepared to have a little bit of a fight. Even if it doesn't work, you must be able to walk away and say, you know what, I did everything reasonable and rational and practical to make this relationship work. And ultimately, no one can ask more of you. Start to fight a little bit. I'm not talking about pursue. I'm talking about have a little bit more fight, because I hate to say it, and I know somebody's gonna come for me. You're teaching girls, do whatever, okay? We need to have a sense of fight, because just that bit more effort that you're not prepared to make, somebody else will make it. Okay? That's like the sad truth. Okay? That, how are you? I haven't heard from you. Is everything okay? That you're not prepared to do because you're not playing those games with nobody. Somebody else is gonna. And the truth about men is that they're not just dating you. There will be other people. Even if they're seriously dating you, they're having friends and other conversations, because that they're not naturally monogamous, right? They might be zoning in, looking for that real life partner in you, but they will always have other options. You're not in competition with those other options. You're in competition with yourself to have standards, but also not being oblivious or naive to believe that you're the only one who's interested in this high value man, that this man that you are interested in, for whatever reason you're drawn to him, that you're the only one, right? No matter what happens, no matter who he chooses, or whether you choose him or whether he chooses you, you must always walk away from a relationship knowing you've done everything possible, that you didn't run off or start disappearing and going off on one because it didn't serve you, because you didn't bother. you didn't make that call. And when I was talking to this friend of mine, I realized that some women just hemorrhaged a really great guy because they couldn't be bothered to make that effort, because they didn't want to come across like they were chasing him, because we're so full of insecurities and all of this sort of talk about I don't want to come across, and we're so worried about how things look, and we've got this ego and our hurt feelings and all of these things at work. And if you follow me on Instagram, I've got something, there's no room for pride, ego in the dating relationship. Okay, we're not here to, high value women don't have ego and pride. That's not what we're dealing with here. We just have value. We know what we're worth, and it's that simple. And it's okay, you know, even when you're buying a diamond, it's okay for the salesperson to say, will you still be going ahead with this purchase? Okay, it's completely fine. The salesperson is not diminishing the value of the diamond because they're asking if the customer is going to go ahead with the purchase. That's not diminishing the value of that product, right? What diminishes the value of that product is when it starts to cheapen itself, starts to lower its standards to accept any kind of treatment. Okay, that's lowering your standards. But saying, are you still interested in purchasing this product, is very much, and of course you're not a product, but you know, putting a man on the place where he has to confront what it is that he wants with you and be ready to step up to the plate. That's high value. Okay, it's not chasing a guy. So I hope this video was really helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Love you lots. Take care of you. See you on my next video. Send me those questions for Women Ask Wednesday. I can't wait to do that for you. I will see you soon. Take care of you. Bye bye now.